Let's imagine that you want to take a photo on the beach where there are some people walking back and forth, and you want to be able to eliminate them from the scene. Or you want to take a photo of a street and there are cars going back and forth, and you want to be able to show what this street looks like without the vehicles. We might be able to use the clone stamp tool or the spot healing brush in Photoshop Elements to solve some of these problems. But in many cases, those tools can't reproduce what is behind the object that you're trying to eliminate from the scene. So what do? The best thing you can do is set up a tripod and take multiple photos of the exact same scene. For instance, one of your photos may have a person on the right-hand side, but not on the left-hand side. And another might have a person on the left-hand side, but not the right-hand side. By combining those multiple photos, you can create an entire scene as though no one was in the photo. I'll choose a simple case and use two tools, the clone stamp tool in Photoshop Elements and layers in On1 Photo Raw to demonstrate the idea. Of course, other software can do the same thing. The important thing here is the concept. First, Photoshop Elements. We are now in Photoshop Elements. I've chosen this photo as the one I would like to work on because when I took the photo, a hawk flew into the picture. So this is my focus photo. I'd like to choose another photo that has the same scene. It was on a tripod, so it'll be the same exact perspective, but doesn't have the individuals in these spots. So I chose this photo, which has the individuals on the far left and on the far right, but doesn't have anyone in the middle. And by using the stamping tool, the clone stamping tool, I will be able to improve this photo so that it doesn't have anyone in the picture. And the way I would do that is by selecting this photo, coming down to the clone stamping tool, and then choosing a location on this photo that is easily identifiable on either of the two photos. I'm choosing the intersection of this crack and the right-hand side of the sidewalk. And so if I select that spot and then come over to the other photo and select the exact same spot, and then start painting with the clone stamp tool, I can effectively eliminate everyone who is in the photo simply by painting over these people. I know that the photos are perfectly aligned because I used a tripod when I took the photos. And there we have a perfect photo with the hawk in the photo, but none of the people in the photo. Now, if I want to save this photo, I then have to save it under a different name, or else I will lose the base photo, and I want to keep that photo. So I would do File, and then Save As, and then choose a different name for the photo. Another way of using Photoshop Elements to accomplish the same result is by using its layering module. The way we use the layering module, we come down on the lower panel here on the right-hand side, select Layers, we see that this photo is now shown as the background layer, the bottom layer. And then we're going to choose the other photo that we just saw as the layer that we'll put on top of this background layer. And the way we do that is we come over to File in the upper left-hand corner, but instead of selecting Open, we select Place. And so I select Place, I select that photo, and it is now layered on top of the other photo. Here's the top layer, and here's the layer below it. Now all we have to do is use the eraser tool in Photoshop Elements and erase these portions of the top layer so that the bottom layer shows through. Again, it's perfectly aligned because we used a tripod. And again, we have the same result. If we want to save that photo, we come to File, Save As. Since we're using layers, the default extension that it chooses is Photoshop. That's PSD. If we want to save it as a JPEG, we click on this pull down arrow, select JPEG, rename it, and then it'll be saved as a JPEG with its own unique name. Any program that supports layers can do the same thing that we just did in Photoshop Elements. In this case, we're in On One Photo Raw, and again, we are in the Layers module. We have the top layer here, and then I show you the layer underneath, the photo underneath. And if we use the tools that are in On One and we erase the sections here and here, we reveal the clear areas where there are no people underneath. And the way we do that is we go to the mask brush and we are masking out. So we go to this section and we mask out. 1, 2, 3. And again, we get exactly the same result. In this case, we would simply export the file and it would rename it automatically.